All right, guys, welcome to camp. Super exciting things today. I'm going to start off with I figured out a way to show you how to use the We Type It app on my phone. So I'm going to screen share and cast that in so I can show you guys exactly how to do that. From there, I'm going to go over a couple ways to work in the designer, and then we'll save time at the end for a Q&A. So I'm going to get started with the We Type It. I'm going to start with my recipe box that I have here. This was my great grandmother's, and we're going to submit her a recipe for typing with We Type It. Another great thing is if you've seen our newsletters, I think it goes out tomorrow, but you may have seen it on the website. Starting today, there's a 50% off We Type It promotion code. I'll pop that in the email as well. These are great. So it's 1 credit per recipe typed. So if you have, for example, the front and the back, it's still just 1 credit for the one recipe to be typed. Couple things if you type it, it's one of my favorite services that we have. These are real people typing. So when you get your email saying, "Hey, we typed your recipe for you," do take a quick second. You'll get a screen that shows you the recipe card, the image of the card that you submitted, and the typed recipe. Take a quick second to look over it. Make sure that everything is how you want it. If you want to make any edits, that's a great opportunity to do it right there. Because sometimes with cursive and we've gotten food on the cards and all the things that well-loved cards have, it can be hard to see. So just take a moment to review them. So I'm going to share my screen here. I had Carly be my handy dandy test here and make sure we could do this. So we've got my phone. Oh man, we were so ready a minute ago. Oh, here it is. All right. All right. Can everyone see? Give me like a thumbs up if you can see the screen okay. You're good. Awesome. All right. So I've downloaded the We Type It app. Right now, it's currently only for iPhones. We're working on Android. I know. But so right now it is currently just for uh iPhones. If you have an Android and still want to do You Type It on your phone, because they're getting to see double me. If you have an Android, you can open the browser and just work from the browser, and that's super easy. But so we'll start with opening the app, and there we go. So when you open your app, if you don't have any recipes in there yet, this will be empty. But if you have any recipe scans that are in here, they'll be in there as well. You're going to want to start by hitting the plus button in the top corner. There's a quick little, let me see if I can hide me. That might be good. Mhm. I can't hide me. Sorry, guys. I'll just have to keep me in the bottom corner. So from here, you'll it has a quick little next steps on how to scan your recipe. You're gonna want to go uh oh goodness. There we go. All right, you're going to hit let's go. You're gonna want to allow it to use your camera. So you'll just allow to use your camera. And what I like to do is before I get started, I like to take a quick minute. I won't do it now for the sake of time. I like to take a quick moment, grab all of my recipe cards that I have, and I like to go ahead and organize them so I could start with like all my appetizers, just because it'll when you're adding your categories, it'll just be easier. So I'll have them in stacks. Okay, let me go through all the appetizers, but we'll start. We'll just do one now. This is English pie, and what's very funny about that is this is actually written on the back of a check. Thanks, Grandma. There you go. All right, so I've got my image. I'm going to scan, take a picture, and see we have that there. Since I don't have the back of it, because I don't really necessarily want the check part, I'm just gonna hit save. Whoops, not save. Delete. There we go. There's how you delete if you need that. We're gonna hit done. I'm gonna tap that image. Everything looks good. Done. We can hit save. Goodness. Three screens, guys. Um, there we go. I'm gonna actually retake this one just because I missed part of it. Here we are. All right, so now we have it. I'm gonna hit done. We're gonna hit save. Now I can select my category. So this one would be like an entree. And then the recipe name, English, Thai, hit save again. And then I can submit for typing. It's going to go ahead and submit it for you. If you want it to send you a notification when it's typed, that's fine. So typically it takes, and we're going to just continue. So I'm going to move to the next one. I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to take the picture. Keep scan. Hit save. And then I'm going to type the name of this one right here. Jelly. I would just continue going through that until I have all of my recipes typed. If you needed to add, let's find one that has front and back. So this is a recipe that has the front and the back. So I'm going to take the picture of the front. And we're going to get the back side of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and type the name of this recipe here. Cucumber. And submit for typing. So let me stop sharing my screen now. Here. Fantastic. All right. Get rid of that second version of me. So that's how you use the WeType app. It's really easy. Once you get in the groove of it, it takes a second. You can just grab your camera, kind of go, snap pictures of all your recipes and get them typed. So typically it takes a couple hours, business hours, to get recipes back. Sometimes it can take up to a full business day. Every once in a while, you might have one guy who lingers. We do have a quick little internal QA check. If it fails, we'll push it back through to be typed again. But typically they're back within an hour or 2 hours. So it's a really fast way to get recipes in really quickly. So now I'm going to take 5 minutes here and answer any questions that anyone might have on WeType It or the WeType It app. If you have a question, just raise your digital hand. Anybody? Let's see if I can. Nope, we're all good. All right, I'm going to keep going, guys. All right, so a few other ways that we can get recipes into our book. So you can always add recipes directly into your book by typing them. You can start with your book and add recipe pages directly in, just hit the plus, hit enter, add recipe page, and then you could select your list, select your layout, and then, oh, did you have a question, Shira?
I sure do. Don't know much about the computer. I've
Okay.
probably typed up 130 recipes that I have done myself.
Okay.
Now, is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. If you just hold tight for 2 seconds, I'm actually going to get to that, and
okay.
I can show you exactly how to do it. But you're in the right place. We're going to take care of you, I promise.
Okay.
All right, awesome. So you can type your recipe here. One thing to note, if you've typed a recipe here, it goes into your recipe box, which is where I'm going to show you another place you can add recipes. This is my favorite way this is one way to do it. A lot of people like to do it this way. Totally fine. Personally, myself, my favorite way of getting recipes in and working on a cookbook project is I like to start in the recipe box. And the reason I like to do that is I like to get all my recipes in. There's a few different ways. We'll go over those. Miss Shira, I'm going to have one for you that you'll like. And then I add them to the book. So if you want, you'll go to the box, hit add recipe. Type is similar to what we just looked at. It's just a form. You can type it yourself. This is great if you have recipes that are in your noggin that you have to write down, or if you just know it by heart, type it up. Go for it. WeType It, we just went over. This is great if you have a recipe box that you want typed by us, or if you have scraps of paper or Some of us have like a Ziploc bag full of recipe scraps in our junk drawer. I'm one of those people. That's what We Type It's for. And if you're nervous, like I'm not sure if someone could see it, you can always submit it, and it gives you a starting off place. Inviting contributors. This is going to give you a custom link, custom shareable link that you can send to your friends and family. So if you're wanting your daughter, or if you're wanting your mom or niece or cousin or grandma to work with you on this project, you could send them the link. The way it's going to look on their end when they get it is it's going to be a form so that they can add their recipes. It'll go directly to your account. And once they submit it, they can also contribute photos if you wanted that as well. So that's great when working on a group project, family project. The last thing, all right, Miss Shara, this is for you. There's a tool called Import My Recipes. This is if you have a Word document or a PDF of recipes saved on your computer. It's similar to We Type It in that it's going to be parsed out and put into your account. It uses We Type It credits the same as We Type It, so it's 1 credit per 1 recipe. But basically, you click this, you upload that document, and it's going to it's going to parse all the recipes out and add them to your account. Does that make sense? Good. All right, I'm going to stop here for just a quick second and talk about recipe collection, recipe gathering, getting any recipes into the cookbook. Does anyone have any questions on any of those things? And then we'll get into the
Hi,
fun.
can you hear me?
I think so.
Hi, okay, because my picture's not, I don't know how to do this thing.
That's
When
okay.
you had where you can send the recipe to a friend or family member, are
Uh-huh.
they able to open all of my recipes, or
So,
it just allows them to send me
yeah,
theirs?
they can just submit. They can't see any of your project or look at any of your recipes. You could, if they have an account, you can send recipes from your account to their account, but they would need to send you their contributor link for you to do that.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. If you just anybody else have questions, if you go to the bottom, the little reactions guy, and you click it, I'll hold it. It'll say raise hand, and it brings you to the top of my screen so that I can see you. So I'll give 2 more minutes for questions here. If we have
Where
anything on,
now? What?
we type it. Oh, I see, Miss Shira. You're
This may not,
that's
like I
okay.
say, I'm lost, but I did. Let me see. Does the company back up all of the recipes that I have typed?
Yes, they're yes, ma'am.
So if my computer would crash or whatever it is,
Yeah, so it's
I won't
on.
lose all those recipes that I've
Oh,
typed.
not at all. So it's not a software that's downloaded on your computer. It's through the browser. And so if as long as you get them in there and typed, that they're backed up. So that's a great thing. Outside of just having a wonderful family cookbook, it's a great thing having your recipes digitally preserved. I growing up on the Gulf Coast,
Thanks so
unfortunately
much.
we've seen hurricanes, and if those pieces of paper get wet, they're a done deal. So it's a good thing to have them digitally preserved. All right, Miss Dana, I see you. What can I answer for you?
Hi, I can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I've typed in 109 recipes in my book, and yeah, because I didn't know how to do the retype it. So this is very interesting.
Yeah.
This is a great way to save a lot of time. But my question is, when I went to preview my book, and after I picked the binder and the paper and all this stuff, and I wanted to preview it.
Mhm.
And it down below or on the very end, it said that it couldn't go any further because of the something to do with the photos or something, the digital
Okay,
photos.
so if you, I promise I'm gonna answer that. We're gonna get to previewing and ordering, and I
Okay.
think I know exactly what's going on. But if I don't answer it by the end, make sure to raise your hand again, and we'll get you sorted out. I'm gonna stick through. We're gonna go through typing and then designing and then ordering and proofing.
Okay,
But
because I just have one more little question.
yeah,
When you order your book and you submit your own pictures, and then maybe you might go ahead and select pictures that are from that cost you $1.50. Now,
Mhm.
are you charged for your pictures that you put in, or
No,
just
ma'am,
the
not at all.
ones? Okay,
Just
okay,
stock photos, the way that works is it's $1.50. It's a one-time charge.
Mhm.
It's not per book, but no, ma'am, not for your own pictures.
Okay, all right. All right, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Michelle, can I answer? Or is it Michelle or Michael?
Actually, Michael.
Michael, I'm sorry. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's
Reading
all right.
slower.
So I had a question on, is it possible to get others like who are contributors to the book to have a view of the book so that they can see it and help to edit the book?
So you can't have like multiple people on the project, but what you can do, and I strongly, strongly suggest it, is when you get to that proofing stage, which we'll talk about here shortly, you can download those proofs and share them with family and friends. And
Ah,
honestly, I strongly suggest it because that's a great way to get
okay.
somebody to like
No,
review
I
it.
got you. It
So
just
it'll
becomes a
have the
PDF
watermark.
then?
It's a PDF, it'll have a watermark, but you can download it. And
That's
when
fine.
I'm working on books, I email it to like my mom or whoever. And I'm like, hey, can you take a look at this? They'll give me their edits and then I'll just pop in
All
and
right.
make.
Thank you. That's what I needed. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. I got one more minute for questions and then I'm gonna keep going and we'll have another little round. Joanne?
Yeah, thank you. How do you handle recipes that come from like a commercially available cookbook?
So when you submit a recipe in your account, when you signed up for an account, you agreed to terms and conditions, which are you have the permission to print those recipes. So you're saying to us, like, I'm giving you I have the permission to print these recipes, and I'm giving that permission to you to print the recipes on my behalf. So I can give you if you reach out to support, they can give you some resources on copyright. But it's when you any recipe that you give to us, you're saying you have permission to use and print.
Got it.
So yeah,
Okay, thanks.
of course. All right, we're gonna keep going for a quick second. I see you, Jeanette and Louisa. I promise, and Tally. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna keep going in case somebody needs to jump off at the end of the hour. I have an extra 30 minutes before I have to go commandeer my little monster from nursery school. So I will stay to answer all of our questions past the hour if we need to. All right. So once you get all your recipes typed, they're in there, they're ready to go. My favorite way to build the book really, really quickly is I like to come in and you can either select all of the recipes, or in my case, because I've worked on so many books, I've done a book for my mom, I've done a book for my mother-in-law, I've done a book that's a combination of both my family and my husband's family for us. So if that's the case, you would just select the recipes. So you'll see here, for example, in this book, if we filter by in the book, these are all the recipes from the Gibson, my husband's family. But if I wanted to add recipes here, I would select all the recipes that I want in there. One thing to note is you want to make sure that they all have categories and that the categories are consistent. And what I mean by that is you don't have appetizer and appetizer. You want them to be the same because the way when you automatically build the book, it's going to build based on the names of the categories. I do it myself. I have to always double check because I'll have dessert and desserts. So just take a quick second. If you see that where you're like, oh no, I named half of my recipes desserts, all you have to do is select the ones that you're wanting to change, hit batch action, assign category, and then reassign that category so that they're consistent. Once you've done that, let me grab some that are not in the book. If I want to add recipes to the book, I'm just going to select the ones that I'm wanting to add. I'm going to say batch action, add to book. I'm going to select a layout. Don't worry, you're not fully committed to this. This is just getting the outline of the book laid out. You can go in and tweak it. Select your layout. Another thing to note while I'm here is if you select a layout that has step numbers, so that would be this one here. There's one other one right here. If that recipe is super long, it will automatically flow onto the second page. So that's a great, if you have a lot of long recipes, I strongly suggest starting with that layout. So we'll select that. You want to place in the proper sections, create pages. This is going to automatically lay your book out. It'll also insert your section dividers if you, in there as well. From here, I have currently a premium theme in my book. You can switch the theme. I love these themes. They're here. This is the one that I have is the premium. but totally up to you what you want to use. The only thing that I do note is this is the opportunity that you kind of want to select your fonts. And the reason for that is if you wait till the end to select your fonts, sometimes you're like, oh, I really like this script and it's so pretty. And you change it at the end. And sometimes that font might have been, even if it's a 10-point or 12-point font, because the font's slightly different, it may move things. And now things that did fit before aren't fitting now. So if you can pick your font kind of up front, will save you a lot of time in the long run once you're going through your book and making tweaks. If anyone needs font suggestions, I will post, I can send it in our email as well. We have a couple of just pairing suggestions that look really nice. And I can share those with you as well. Flipping through your book, this is when you want to take a moment and look at your layouts. Do they fit nicely? Do you want to add photos? Do you have anything that you might want to do there? Another quick thing that you're going to want to do is go into your arrange pages. If you're wanting to move any of your section dividers around, the easiest thing to do is let's just pretend I wanted appetizers before breakfast. I would grab and drag that, pull it to before breakfast and hit auto arrange. This will pull all the recipes that belong to appetizers to that section of the book. It'll pull it ahead. So now I have appetizers and then the breakfast. But yeah, I'm going to stop here and see if I have any. I'm going to answer a couple more questions for till the 30-minute mark. Let's focus on anything about recipe collection and then how to get the recipes into your book. I'll start with Jeanette.
Hi there. So I have a whole bunch of photographed, handwritten recipes from my mother-in-law. So I read the comment from your helper here that's saying we download them with JPEG to retype it. And how do I have to, once it's typed, I have to organize it? I haven't really been on the site, so that I'm like brand new coming to this.
Welcome.
So how do I organize?
So you have them, they're all, sorry, make sure you have all the recipes, they're JPEG.
Yeah, and then I photographed them and now they're on my desktop.
Oh yeah, so I can show you how to do that really quickly.
Oh, okay, so that's the first thing. So once I've uploaded them, how do I organize?
So once you've uploaded them, just come to the recipe box, add recipe, use we type it. Since they're on your desktop, all you're gonna have to do is hit choose file, and then you can we'll pretend like this is a recipe card. You'll open it and submit it. As you're submitting them, you're going to want to go ahead and assign it a category. So that way, once it's typed in your box and you add it to your book, it goes in its proper category.
So each time I download it, or once I get it back typed, then I give it a category?
You see right here where it says category? Yeah. We give you some suggestions, but if you don't like those, you can just manually type over whatever you want.
Is that after it's typed, or do I have to do that as I'm downloading?
You do that at the beginning. Yes. If you want to change,
organize it first.
You just have, as you go through and look at them, I would just take a minute and like, okay, I have cucumber pickle. That's probably going to be miscellaneous. So you can just look at them and assign them a category as you go.
Okay, before it's typed even.
Yes, ma'am. Right here.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am. All right. Stop sharing here. Louisa?
I have a question again.
Oh, Miss Shearer, I'm gonna come back. Or just one second. Let me get to everybody else.
I'm sorry.
I'll come to you. No worries. All right, Louisa. Louisa, am I saying it right? Luisa? No? Okay. Tally.
Hi, how are you? I have a quick question. So on the format, where like it says like yield, and then is there a way that you can put like a prep and a cook as well?
Yeah. So what I suggest doing there is when you go and when you're typing those recipes, let's get out of here.
Like I'm using the first layout. I like that one the best.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I like to do, if you add it in the notes section, that yield, prep, all those things, let me show you in the book because that might be a little bit easier. So right here, I like to add it in the notes section. Right. Gosh, sorry, Zoom got all these little people. There we go. So in the notes section, and when you save that, it will There we go. It'll appear right underneath. So I like it there.
Yeah, and then the only thing is, like, I'd like it, I can't put it just where it'd be like in boxes, so it's always the same on every page.
Yeah, it would, right now there's not a field for it, so it just would
Okay.
need to go in the notes section. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's the, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Awesome. No worries. Lydia? Miss Lydia? Did you have any questions? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Miss Shara?
A quick question. As far as categories, I guess you can't subdivide. Like if it's a main dish Italian, main dish Mexican.
So there's not like a subdivide like what you're thinking, but you could say main dish dash Italian and have all those as one section. A lot of people do that.
Okay.
Yep, you would just put that in there. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, awesome. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep going. Let's get into the fun part. Let's adding all the photos, how to adjust your font. So when you're in here, fonts you can select. If you select any font you select, as long as you have the editing styling 4 set to all pages, the great thing about this, it's going to update across your entire book. This is fantastic because it gives a really consistent book. You want your fonts to be the same across your book. In a situation, the only time you would ever use edit styling for this page only, if you were in a situation where you were really, really trying to get that recipe to fit on the page and it's just so close, and you could do is say this page only, and you could drop the font by like 1 or 2 just to give yourself a little more breathing room to get that recipe to fit. That is truly the only situation where I would ever use this page only when I'm designing my book. The rest of the time I would use all pages. Couple little tricks when you're flipping through your book and editing and kind of adding the design. Some people like the step numbers and some people don't. I like to make mine a little bit smaller so they're more closely to the size that the recipe is being is shown. Some people like them a little bigger. Totally a design thing to you. Some people don't like them at all. If you click this here, hide, you get the page breaks, but you don't have the number. So that's always an option as well. If you are doing a binder, we'll go over binding styles here shortly. If you are doing a binder, I strongly suggest is to, oops, sorry, make sure we mute everybody. Hide your step numbers. And the way you do that is just go page numbers and hide them. That way, when you order additional pages in the future and you want to tuck them in, that they're not, you don't get out of order so crazily. If you're wanting to add photos, you can select either a layout, an image on the layout. Excuse me, goodness, a layout that includes a photo, and then you can add the image. There's a few options. You can upload your own, of course, which is great for family. Let me stop sharing for just a second. Make sure we got everybody muted. All right, can you guys still hear me okay? All right. Fantastic. Alrighty. So you can add your own photos. These are perfect for family photos. If you've taken a picture of a meal you've created, pictures of the kiddos, things like that. There are also stock photos in here. You can search these. I mentioned it earlier. There's some that are free and some that are $1.50. It's a one-time fee of $1.50, not $1.50 per book. But there's some really pretty ones. These are great for making covers, section dividers, or if you just want to add some extra color and fun to your book as well. If you have a couple of other tips and tricks while we're here. The table of contents generates itself. If you get in a situation where you have this little warning sign right here, see how it's got this little triangle and it says not enough pages, add page. All you have to do is hit that, add it, and it'll add another page to your book to fill it in. If you have a really big book and you're trying to preserve the number of pages that you have for recipes, you're trying to work within the limits. There's a 2-column, so we can get twice as many on the table of contents, which is nice. Let's see. Let me change that so you guys can see what it looks like. Here we go. Fantastic. So you'll have just the 2 column, which is nice. I like if you have for a smaller book, I like to go with the 1 column. For a larger book, I like to do the 2. Most books typically, just to give you an idea of what books typically have, most books typically have 30 recipes, but we've seen all the way from no recipes. I actually have an example of what that looks like to hundreds of recipes. Some people, there are page count limits, and I'll go over those shortly. But if you have a really large recipe collection, you may consider doing volumes and splitting your collection into like savory or sweet or just lots of different ways. If anyone has questions, I'll be happy to answer that. If you want to pop in little photos to kind of make it feel, add family stories, you hit the orange button, hit after, and you can select photo pages, story pages. These will appear on your table of contents as well, and they're a great little filler to kind of tuck in. All right, I'm going to give a few minutes to answer questions about design, editing the book. Then we're going to talk about covers, and lastly, we'll go over proofing and binding, and then I'll have time for Q&A at the end. All right, let's see. Susan? Oops. If you're having trouble unmuting, I think you're good.
I'm unmuted now.
Thank
You.
I
I have typed in most of my recipes and I picked the layout where I had 2 to a page. And then I wanted to rearrange some of them, but I can't rearrange individual recipes now, right?
So you have 2 recipes per page?
Yeah, and say I want to take the second one and move it to a different page and replace it with something else. How do I do that?
Let me show you how to do that. It's a great question, actually. Let's see. I know I have a 2-page somewhere. I think I lied. Okay, we'll make it happen though. All right. So if I had the gingerbread cookies and the lemon bars, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create 2 pages. All right. So here I have a 2-page recipe and it's not fitting. So it's probably, I would probably want to move this. So what I would suggest doing is I would come in and grab that second recipe. I would copy it so that I have it in my keyboard, go to the layout, pick one that's just for one recipe, hit save. That's going to take that second recipe off. Then what I would do is hit the plus after, add a recipe page, and then select whichever layout you want. Go to existing recipe and paste that in and hit next. And that's going to pull it off of that page and add it to the next. Does that make sense?
So how do you copy the recipe?
So when I went into, oh, sorry guys. When I went in to grab that recipe, I just, you highlight the whole thing and hit the right click to hit copy. Just copying the name. So
but
you have
everything, name, ingredients, directions, everything will
no.
copy
I'm
at once.
No,
Oh.
I'm just copying the name of the recipe so that when I add it to another page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you go to existing recipe, meaning it's already typed in your account, and I paste it, you'll see this is telling me it's already in my book. But you can just paste it in there and it'll pull it in for you. Yeah, of course. All right, awesome. Answer a couple more questions and we'll keep going. Miss Nancy. Oops, bottom.
Okay, you're
good.
probably going to get to this, but I noticed some of the pages have a shaded background behind, or am I seeing things? There's a
No,
way to
you're
get a
not seeing-
background.
So there's 2 premium themes that come with backgrounds.
Okay.
You go more and go change theme, and this is my favorite. I actually have it for. Oh goodness, you guys get to come with me on a field trip to my kitchen. I have it on my mother-in-law's. Here we go. The premium theme here, and it does have backgrounds. It's really pretty. Here, I'll stop sharing so you can see big. But like it has the backgrounds, which is nice. And it looks really pretty.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Allison.
Yeah, and if you already covered this, I apologize.
Okay.
I noticed on one of your sample recipes from your book, it was really smushed at the top, like right under the notes, it came servings and then started the recipe. Can you manually insert additional lines or is that templatized?
It's templatized.
Okay.
And it's not going to, there's no, say that. You don't have to worry so much. You'll get a warning if there's anything it's worried that it's going to push. Let me see if I can grab an example really quickly. So this is a really quick rendering of the book. So it's not ideal. What you want to, we'll go over this shortly. When you go to review and proof, that's going to be the PDF that we print from. Take a look there. So sometimes just because it's a computer screen and things are a little bit different, it might look like, oh man, that's not going to look good. The way it will give you a warning if it's a situation where it's getting squished. But it's once it's printed out, you'll see there's plenty of room between the title, the notes, and then everything else. So when we get over the proofing, I think that'll help you feel better, but I know what you're talking about. It does sometime on the screen. You're like, oh, that's really
This
close.
looks better though. This one looks better than an earlier example where it felt really squished and maybe that was like too early in the process or something. This looks great though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. We'll answer one more question and we're going to go to the cover. I'm going to give some tricks there. And then we'll go into proofing. Miss Dana?
Yeah, on your when you insert a picture,
Yes,
and when the picture comes up like into the directions, when you see it on your when you're looking at your pages, and you're going through, well, the picture is up into the directions. You have to go in there and you have to make the picture smaller so it's not covering up part of the directions, right? So you just click on the picture and then, and what do you just go ahead and take your cursor and pull it in?
So let's make exactly what you're talking about happen. If my text was a little bit bigger, it would push all of that text underneath that photo. So you'll see the system is saying, hey, you get this little warning sign. Anytime you see one of those, make sure you click it. It's telling you, hey, it looks like all your directions are flowing into where the photo is. You probably want to fix that. There's two options here. The first one would be I could play with the font to make it smaller, or change the layout, or what you were saying, I could take that photo, I could click it, and I could make it a little bit smaller and bring it down in the photo section of the page. And that way I have all of my text and then I have the photo and you'll see that the warning has disappeared as well.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'm gonna go pop into covers for a second, and then I will in proofing. I want to take a minute though. I just realized I didn't get a second. Carly, are you still here? Raise your hand. Are you? No? Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, you are perfect.
Yeah, sorry. I had
As
myself
you said
muted.
at the beginning, I take a minute to introduce Carly. If you have been writing into customer support, I think she invited some people today. This is the famous Carly that you're writing with. We have Heidi as well. She couldn't join us today, but she is phenomenal, amazing. Anytime you have support questions, she's just so helpful and so amazing. So I wanted to take a moment and recognize her and all of her hard work, because she's just an amazing person. So there's Carly. We'll give her a round of applause for all the sort of cookbook help that she provides. All right, we'll pop into covers. All right. So a couple of different options for covers. We have themes that already have photo covers. They're beautiful. They're perfect. You can make a stunning book. If you want to go a little bit fancier, a little bit jazzier, What I like to do is either work with a family photo, and you're looking for a photo that has kind of some blank space that you could type something. So a good photo might be, this is one that I did for my sister for her wedding, and added it to it. And what's great is you have, with this photo, fill image, you have a little bit of space at the top where, I think I did a color of her wedding. I think, yeah. So we fill the image, and I can move the thing. I think I did it white and had it down at the bottom. But that's a great way to do a really simple family photo. Anything that kind of has that blank space. I have another photo that I've used a couple of times that works nicely. Where is this guy? There it is, right here. So this is a family photo. What's nice about it is I could just add the family. I can add my text at the top here, and I might go with a little bit bolder of a font here so it can be seen. But that works as a great, beautiful cover. Couple things to note. You see this red section here? We want the photo in there, but what we don't want is, see here, we have my nephew, he's getting cut off. That section is, if you are doing a soft cover, it's going to be cut so that it has a nice clean edge. Or if you have a hardcover, it's going to be wrapped around the book. So you want some of the picture just so you don't have a white strip, but you don't want like someone's face or text in that section. Another really great, easy thing to do is just go with stock photography. And you can search stock photos. Things that I love to search for are like baking or flowers. The reason for that is I feel like with the baking, you get the images, you get the ingredients, which is really nice, and not necessarily just a recipe. So a lot of things in my book have flour and eggs, so it makes sense. And then with that, I can just add the text and kind of the blank space. Those are just two really simple ways to make really beautiful covers. A few things that you want to do is remember to edit your spine. You want to edit this text in the spine color. Make sure that your text matches the front if you choose to have that. And also make sure that your the colors match. The last thing is, don't forget the back cover. What I like to do on the back cover is, if I'm doing a family photo, I like to fill it with a color that's kind of complementary and just go background color and pick a color that's kind of complementary of that. Or if I'm going with a stock image, what I like to do is use the exact same image. Whoops, there we go. I like to use the exact same image there just to kind of have a really cohesive book. And that's covers. All right. We have 15 minutes, so we're at the top of the hour, and then I promise I'll stay and answer questions. I'm going to quickly go over proofing and ordering, and then the rest of the time will just be for Q&A. All right. So when you're ready, you've got your cover, you've put your recipes in, you've flipped through, made sure that all your layouts are exactly how you want them. The next thing you need to do is generate your proofs. So to do that, you're going to go to preview and order. You're going to want, see these, I'm having some warnings. This is great. One thing you can do is you can double click that warning, and it will take you exactly to where the warning is. And for me, I had inconsistent table of contents layouts. Now we're good. All right. Hit next. All right, so you can order multiple binding styles at the same time. I'm going to take this moment here and go over the different binding styles. The first one is our softcover Wire-O. This book is great. I'm going to stop share. I'm going to share my screen big so you guys can see. This is the softcover Wire-O. It does have the exposed wire through the back, and the reason for that is so the book can lie flat when you're working with it. So this is a great book for if you're, I use it, I actually have mine full of blank recipe pages. I use this as like my journal every year. I just fill it full of blank recipe pages, and I just keep filling it in. I'll actually go back in a few months and usually type it to add these recipes to my collection. So this is a really good book to have in the kitchen if this, you're going to be using it a lot and want it to lie flat and bring it with you. We also have this one, it can hold up to 260 pages, so a minimum of 30 up to 260. The next one is the soft cover Perfect Bound. This is a beautiful book, looks just like something out of a bookstore. I love these for gifting. When I did my mom's book, I did the hardcover YRO for her and me, and then we have like lots of cousins and family. They all got a copy with the softcover Perfect Bound. So really stunning book as well. It can hold up to 312 pages. Also a really good selection if you have a large recipe collection. All right, drum roll please. My favorite book, the Ballad. Here's my favorite book. All right. Hardback YRO. This is hands down my favorite book. I love it. I love the way it looks. It lies flat. It has the foil, holds up to 200 pages. It's just really nice, crisp, sharp looking book. And so it looks nice. It stands up nice on my shelving in my kitchen. So this is my favorite. Coming up close to it though is the original, the binder. It's actually identical to the hardback YRO in the outside. The only difference is instead of the wire that's in the center with the hardback YRO is you have the binder so that you can go back in the future and add additional recipe pages. I mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again. If you're considering the binder, I strongly suggest turning off the page numbers so that when you go in and add more pages in the future, you don't have any inconsistency there. That's the binder. And last but not least is the hardback case bound. This is an absolutely stunning book if you are wanting it to be like a coffee table book, like something that's going to sit out. It looks really nice. It's really clean. The only thing about it is it does not lie flat. So if you're going to use it in the kitchen, I suggest a little cookbook stand. I mean, it gets flat, but it's not completely lie flat like the hardback YRO or the soft cover YRO. Any quick questions? I know that was a lot of information. Any question? Well, let me go over paper. There are 3 paper options. We have the standard, which is a 70-pound matte-like finish. And it comes with all of your books in the standard pricing. Then there is the premium paper, which is a 100-pound gloss finish. It's really great for books with photos. The gloss finish is it's actually the exact same paper they would use like in a photo book. And so it looks really nice. It makes the photos look really crisp, and it's beautiful. The third option is probably my favorite just because I'm a messy cook. It's the Write in the Rain. What's great about it is it's waterproof and spill proof. It is a matte-like finish. It looks so much like the standard paper. If you've been to my camp, you've heard me tell this story. It looks so much like the standard paper that I made a little bit of a booty of myself when I first got it and had it. I was like, hey, you guys sent me the wrong paper. This is standard. And they were like, no, ma'am, it's right. And I was like, no, sir, it's not. No, it was like, throw some water on it. And if you throw water on it, the water just beads up and sits on the top and you can wipe it clean. So if you get it, I'm telling you now, just take a minute when you open it, like, oh no, it's standard paper. It's not. Just throw a little water on it. And if you see the water bead up at the top and you can wipe it clean, it's correct. So that one's great if you, for a cookbook that's going to be in the kitchen, you're going to be cooking with it a lot just because it's the stain proof and waterproof. If you have photos, they print fine, they look great, but they don't have the high gloss like the premium paper. So any questions on binding styles, paper types, anything like that? Lydia, Miss Lydia?
Hi.
Hey.
With taking the binder style, taking the numbers off the pages, how do you take the numbers off the table of contents?
So I typically just remove the table of contents altogether because there's not a way to take the table of the numbers off. If it's super important to you and you're like, I really want a table of contents, a little trick that I've done in the past is I will just, well, I'll show you when I generate the proof. I'll copy and paste the table of contents into a Word doc. remove the numbers myself, and then I'll save it as an image and upload it to the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
And backing up a little bit,
Mhm.
with the photos, how do you get 2 photos on one page? Like one photo of ingredients, one of final product?
So on the photo pages, there's a layout that has 2 images per photo page. Here we go. You'll see that there is the 2 photo page. So if you're working with a recipe, you could sit this next to that recipe page and have the images beside it. On the recipe pages, there's not a 2 photo layout. If you really want 2 photos on one page, say you want it here, what you could do is use like canva.com and create a collage and download it as one image and then upload it here.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Tally, do you have all your questions answered?
I just have a quick question about the hardcover book. So it has no wrapping on it, right? Like it's printed onto the book itself.
There's a coating, like a
Yeah, but there's not like that sheet, like people take it off and then the book is blank underneath.
oh no, ma'am, it's it's on here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how many recipes does this book hold about?
Depending on the binding style, and since there's 2 recipes per page, it really just depends.
Yeah, okay. And then can you just hold it up that I can see like the side, this part? Yeah, that. So okay, it has like, that's the hard one. That's the hard.
This is the binder. See, it has
No, not the binder, the hardcover book. Just the hard, like the fancy one, the coffee table one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and all right, that's the one that that's what I'm going with. Okay. That's all I had, I guess. And just the glossy, like my picture. So actually, I hope to make this cookbook and then to maybe hopefully move it on and to publish it. So my thing is the pictures would be the best to go with the gloss finish, is it?
I think so. When you have a lot of photos, I really think the premium.
Yeah, because I'm doing like a photo one side of the page and then the recipe on the other side.
I would do the premium. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Of course. All right. All right, I'm gonna keep going to the proofs and then we're gonna just save the rest of the time for questions and answers. All right, guys. So we've talked about selecting your binding style. A thing to note, if you are selecting multiple binding styles, it is very, very, very important that you review all the proofs of both binding styles, because what happens is these are ever so slightly different in the way they wrap and the way that they're built. And so you want to make sure that the images are covering, that the contents haven't shifted any a little bit. And most of the time it's fine. Most of the time it's not an issue at all. It's there just might be little things like you may need to go move, condense one of the recipes or something small, but it is important to take a quick second and review it. Once you generate your files, this is what we were talking about earlier with Michael. It's going to generate actual PDFs that you could download, print at home. They'll have the watermark, but you could print them. I suggest printing them out and taking a quick look over them with the red pen if you wanted to make sure everybody has their name spelled right and all those fun things. You can also share them with a family or friend. This takes a minute to generate the proofs. But we'll give that just a second. While that generates, let me stop and answer questions because that takes a minute. Miss Dana?
I was going to ask you, is the 3-ring binder the only book that you can add pages to?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's called again, what, the hard what?
The hardback ringed binder.
The hardback ring binder. Okay.
Yes,
and then you talked about the collage, having a collage of pictures. Like
yes,
I would like to have a collage of pictures on the very back cover of my book. What website do you go to do that? Is there a website or a
I suggest canva.com.
Can you spell that?
Yes. Carly, will you pop it in the chat? I will also, it's CANVA. I will also, when you get, yes, ma'am, it's in the chat. She just popped it in there for you.
Okay. Okay.
I will also send a replay video and I will be sure to include a link for that so you can.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So we have our proofs ready. Let me show you guys this really quickly. So you want to review the contents. You're going to want to make sure what you're doing here is you're looking at making sure you don't have anything that's falling off the page, making sure that you're happy with your fonts, making sure that your photos, if you had any warnings, you'll see those as well. Do you want to take a minute, look through that, because these are the files that they will be printed from. The other thing that's super important on the cover, here you'll see the X is the center of the book. So I kind of purposely off-centered the title, but if you wanted the title centered, this is where you want to make sure that it's in the center of the X. You want to make sure you check your spine. That, I might change that color. I'm not loving it with this, so I can pop in and change the color there. Again, you want to make sure the purple part, we want parts of the image, but we don't want faces or text, because that's the part that's going to wrap around the book or be cut for the nice clean finish. These little, if you see, this is like a soft cover book, that's going to be where it punches through. And so if you had a family photo, like, we don't want Aunt Sue getting her face punched through with the wire. So make sure you don't have Aunt Sue in there, because you won't hear the end of that. Those are the things you're looking at for the cover. And again, like I mentioned, if you have multiple binding styles, taking a moment to go through all the covers and all the contents as well. So, all right, that concludes the kind of high level of creating a family cookbook. We typically, I'm gonna stop sharing now and we'll have Q&A. I do want to take a moment. We have a closed Facebook group. If you're not in it, you really should be in it. I will share the link with that in our email as well. It's fantastic. I see a lot of you in there. I think it's great for people will ask questions and they help each other and they give each other ideas. Our support team is amazing and they try to answer things as quickly as possible. But sometimes in the group, people are just super helpful and help each other and they can answer things really quickly. So I strongly suggest joining that. If you haven't, we'll send a link. I think, Carly, did you post it in the chat? If not, I'll send it in the email as well. We also, don't forget, if you want to purchase the We Type It credits to start getting those done, they don't expire, so it's fantastic. I like to get them when they're on the 50% off sale. That's going until March 17th. The code will be in your email as well. But yeah, so that's a great way to get all those recipes typed. But yeah, we'll save the rest of this for Q&A. So, all right, Miss Susan.
I have a question on, so like say an appetizer page, so your start page of the section. If I want to insert a photo just on that page, how do I do that?
Oh, sorry, could you say that one more time?
So if I want to insert a photo on just the category page, so say I want to put it on an appetizer page, how do I do that?
Oh, I see. Yeah, great question. So if I wanted to do a photo here,
Correct.
Hit edit and you're going to select a layout. I like this really full layout and you can pick a picture. Whether it's like a family photo or a stock photo, that'll fill that in there. And then you can just hit save and that'll add it to your appetizers page.
Got it. And so then if I want to just size it down, I can do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you wanted, there's two options on this layout. You could do the smaller one. And but you're right, you could make it a little bit smaller if you wanted to do that in either
Got
layout. Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Dana, are you all good?
I have a little question. Still, I'm wondering how's come when I want to preview my book, it gives me this warning up at the top that I can't continue to look at it because I'm going to have to call a number and they're going to have to walk me through it. They show a telephone number to call or to get in contact with
We don't
create
have
my cookbook.
Okay, reach out to support@createmycookbook.com and we'll take a look. It sounds like there might be an issue with that's kind of like a one-off issue. Typically, if there's a warning when you go to generate that's what I was showing earlier, you could click it. But if you email support and I'll type it in so you have it, support, and just say, hey, I'm having issue with typing my book or getting my book to generate, they can take a look and see what's going on. Create my
And
cookbook.
when you do get to that point, when you get to the point where you can preview your book, does it show you then at the end, because you've maybe used all these stock photos that are $1.50 and all this stuff, does it show you how much it's going to cost at the end per book?
What happens is when you go to check out, you have the price of your book, and then it'll just say you've had 10 stock images. Because if you purchase your book the first time, you pay the 10, the $10.50s. But if you go back to order your book again, you're not paying that again. So it's just a one-time fee that you'll see at checkout. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Fantastic. All right, guys. So have any other questions? Anything I could help with? No. All right, who's ready for some homework? We do homework typically on camps. So if you join the Facebook the Facebook group and you post your favorite cookbook tip or trick to help someone out or kind of inspire them. Valerie, you have a question, I'll get to you. 2 secs. We're gonna do a drawing on Monday with Heidi in the group for a $25 Create My Cookbook gift certificate. So she'll grab all the names of people who posted their favorite cookbook tip or trick, and she will do the little magic spinny wheel and draw somebody to get a $25 gift card. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, that's where you want to be. There's lots of fun stuff going on. All right, Valerie, are you there? Do you want to raise your hand or unmute?
I'm here. Okay, I created a cookbook for my daughter when she went to college of all her favorite recipes, but now I want to do a family one. Is there a way for me to copy that whole cookbook to my new thing?
Yeah, so if you want to, and you have books and you want to start from start from one and kind of use it as a template, you just go here to where it says duplicate, and you can duplicate the book, and that will it'll make a copy of the book. Now, a couple things that I want to note. If you edit a recipe in one book, it's going to edit it in all the other books. So if you have a variation of the recipe, my biggest suggestion would just be copy and paste the recipe as grandma's pecan pie version 2 or something slightly different. But the rest because the recipes live across all the books. Does that make sense? Oh, Valerie, you still there? Good. Okay. And pricing.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Okay. So as far as pricing goes, I saw somebody in the chat just commented that. If you go to the bottom of the website and down to products, hit personal. Here is a calculator. You can calculate the price of your book. Standard pricing of these books include up to 50 pages. Doesn't matter if they're all color or black and white, it's included in the standard pricing. When you go over 50 pages, the price per additional page depends on the number of black and white and number of color pages. So you can come to the calculator, pop in about how many black and white pages you think you'll have and how many colored pages. Also take into consideration the number of books. When you get to 20 books or more, you will start to receive quantity discounts. So if you're ordering for like the whole family and you have 20 books, it'll take into consideration that. You can also from here select the paper type if you're wanting to include that. Standard paper is included in standard pricing. The premium paper is 10 cents per page, and the Write in the Rain is 20 cents per page. So this is the best place to get an idea as far as pricing of the book. The e-cookbook is $9.94 per book. However, if you are ordering physical books, you can do the $2.95 e-cookbook add-on. So if you order 10 books, in the e-cookbook, you'd have to get 10 e-cookbook add-ons. But I really enjoy the e-cookbook add-on because you get an app. And with the app, you can search by recipe name and recipe ingredient. And I love it for when I'm grocery shopping and can't remember what ingredients I exactly need. So it's you can flip through it kind of like a Kindle. You can actually send it to your Kindle if you want, but the really great thing about the e-cookbook is the app that comes with it and being able to search your recipes when you're not at home. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? I've got about 22 minutes before I've got to go. So
Are
I
you
will.
able to hear me? Because I don't see my name up there.
That's okay.
This
What
is
you need?
Adela.
Hi, Adela. What can I do for you?
Okay, I think I got maybe a glimpse at the end. You know, I'm kind of nervous. I'm not computer savvy.
Okay.
I've got like maybe 40 recipes already downloaded and you know, since I started this venture. But is there someone that can preview that I got all my I don't end up with half of a page with the words gone? Do y'all
That's a
have
really,
that where someone can preview before I
yeah,
actually pay to print?
that's a great question. We actually do offer that. So when you go to your earlier when I was at preview and order, when you go to generate your proofs, oops, here we are. My pictures maybe on the recipe page. All right. What do I have? Page number 14. Okay. When you go to generate your proofs, there's a service called We Review It. And once you've generated your proofs, you'll see it appear on the top corner up here. If you click that, it's so the price of it is $9.95 for the first 20 pages and then 10 cents a page. Someone from our team, it's typically Carly, but it could also be someone from our design team. They will go through all of your proofs. They'll create you your own custom video of them going through their proofs, and they will look for anything that's an error, but they'll also give you like little suggestions if they see something like, hey, looks great, but if you wanted to, you could possibly reduce the size of the step number fonts, or this photo might print a little blurry. I would suggest making it smaller, or I would suggest using a different photo. But yeah, you'll see that when you generate proofs. It's not, you don't have to use this service, but if it's something you're like, oh, I just really want a second set of eyes, I've been working on it a long time. It's a great service. Typically, they're done within 1 business day. If it's really, really busy, it'll be 2, but 99% of the time they're done in a 1 business day.
So before we order, can I order like one book just to make sure I like it?
I
Or
strongly
is
suggest
a
that as well.
preview it?
You can, if you're planning on order a bunch, you can order one proof, get it in person, look at it, and then order additional copies anytime that you want. Make edits as well. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I guess. Any other questions? Let's see if I'm in the chat. I haven't really paid attention. Processes, I saw that Carly answered it, but I'll take a minute, Stacy, because if you're asking, someone else is probably thinking that. How do you know when to order your book? Well, if we go to the shipping page, here's that second opinion. You can hit learn more here, and that's where you would go for the We Review It. As far as how do you know how long it's going to take for your book? Under shipping, which is at the bottom of the page, you'll see here all the different binding styles. This is how long it takes for us to produce each of the different binding styles after you submit. One thing to note, once you submit your book, it immediately prints. That's like the quick part. What happens though is the part that takes a little bit more time is for these like wiros and binders and things like that, is they have to cut them and bind them, and then this is like glued in, so that glue has to set. And so that's the part that takes a couple more days before they can ship it out. So that's where you get the time for, depending on the binding style. And then it just depends on the shipping method you choose. We do have media mail for USPS, which is typically 2 to 8 business days, but there's some additional more expedited offerings here. So you just take the math of your binding style plus the shipping method that you've chosen, and that's how you can get like how long it's going to take for your book to get there. Fantastic. All right. Any last minute questions? Oh, thanks, Sharon. That was so sweet. Oh, all right, guys. Any more questions, or we'll call it a day. I'll send out our.
How often do you do these Zoom meetings?
So they're every other week. I think we have another one scheduled for Carly. Is it the 20th, March 20th? I'm pretty, I'll also, we'll send an email out, but I think we have another one scheduled March 20th. Sometimes today it was just kind of a general, but typically we try to pick a topic and really focus. Like last week we did services. I went over we type it, all of design services, we review it, things like that. But there's always a Q&A at the end, and we always stay to answer questions. So, and again, if you can't make it, go ahead and sign up because we'll send the replay video as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna run and grab my little monster from school and see how her day was. And thanks for coming. And if you have questions, reach out to support. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you do that. Make sure you do your homework and get a chance to win a gift card because those are always fun. So thanks, guys. Have a good day.
That's
Bye.